insomnia is not a failure of sleep. And really, it occurs when the focus shifts from allowing sleep to happen to making sleep happen. So, in other words, it's really changing how you approach sleep and the bedtime that's going to make a big difference. And for people who struggle with insomnia, these continued efforts to control sleep really maintains a problem rather than fixing it. And so, what does the science tell us about insomnia? Well, when we try to make sleep happen, we usually use this term called sleep effort. And this increases cognitive and physiological activation. So, when I talk about physiological activation, what I mean here is the triggering of the fight or flight response or the sympathetic nervous system. Okay? And when the sympathetic nervous system gets triggered, then it tends to override the sleep system. And that's why you're having trouble sleeping in the moment when you have this physiological activation. And when this happens night after night or even weeks after week, over time, this creates a vicious cycle of what we call hyperarousal. It's this elevated state of arousal, and this actually perpetuates the problem into a chronic condition. And this is where the bed then becomes associated with wakefulness and monitoring. And so, if we can understand how the cycle operates, then this can open up new possibilities for working out of the cycle of chronic insomnia. So typically what happens here is that we have some kind of triggering event. This can be something stressful that's happening in your life, going through a divorce, maybe losing a job or having deadlines. It can also be something that isn't related to stress, but might throw off your sleep, such as traveling across several time zones. So whatever it is, this leads to sleep disturbance where you're having trouble falling asleep or having trouble staying asleep in the middle of the night. And when you have this for several days or several weeks, then it can lead to the daytime consequences. So the daytime consequences might be feeling more irritable, having mood changes during the day. It could be having difficulty performing, whether it's at work, at home. Maybe you're having trouble concentrating, having more fatigue. And what happens then is people then will try to react or try to compensate for this. You might do things like drinking more coffee, maybe going to bed earlier, staying in bed later, sleeping in when you can, maybe even taking sleep medications. And what happens though is inadvertently these efforts to try to compensate or make sleep happen kind of backfires and really lead to this hyper arousal. And really what happens is this hyper arousal is what kind of like blows up and keeps people in this cycle of insomnia. So you're kind of stuck with these sleep disturbances, the daytime consequences, and the reactions. So this is how most sleep specialists conceptualize what happens